extraterrestrials! I'm Cliff McCallister, the Czar of the Bizarre. Today is February 25th, and these are some strange times indeed. Welcome, one and all, to Strange Times Indeed with Cliff McCallister. I, of course, your host, Cliff McCallister, the Czar of the Bizarre, every week on this show, Thursdays, 9 o'clock, right here on twitch.tv/MetComedyNight. We take your calls to hear about the strange and unexplained experiences that you've had in your life, be it interactions with extraterrestrials, with ghosts, with interdimensional beings, with cryptids. We want to hear about it right here every Thursday at 9 o'clock on Strange Times Indeed with Cliff McCallister. So thank each and every one of you for tuning in tonight. Tonight, of course, slightly different from our regular programming. We're not going to have the phone lines open the whole time, but make no mistake. We'll still open them. We are still in an open and public forum for the truth. Oh my goodness, Stephen, I've picked up my cup and it spilled a little bit. I spilled a little bit of tea. Hold on one second. I need to be unprofessional. I need to be unprofessional before the water hits my computer.
That's okay. You should most certainly clean your computer. I wonder why, though, you would have accidentally spilt your tea. That's not very usual. Like, did someone put something in the way for you in your sets to make you force your tea over? I'm confused. Hello,
Stephen, that is an interesting possibility. After all, this is, and on this show, we speak the truth. We put the word out there that some people don't want to hear, that the public isn't ready to know about. And
I'll tell you what, Barefoot 52 is ready. He said, hello, Cliff, and hello, Steven, and waved. And so it seems like... Seems like there's more people here that could say hi and wave. Hi, everyone tuning in. Thank you for being here.
Yes, if you are tuning into Strange Times Indeed with Cliff McCallister right now, please engage with us in the chat. Favorite time of the week when I get to see Cliff and the crew. So how's Steven's foot? Well, Steven, for those of you who do not know, we were off for the last 2 weeks. The first week, I had some astral projecting to do and doing research for our Invisible Residence series, which is happening right now. It's why we're not currently opening the phone lines to anybody and everybody. But this is going on, our Invisible Residence series. I was astral projecting 2 weeks ago, and we could not broadcast. The week after that, Stephen, is it all right to say?
Sure.
Okay, I don't want to breach any doctor-patient confidentiality, but it came up in the chat that people want to know how you're doing.
I'm doing great. Thank you, Takeda, for wishing us a happy Thursday. Happy Thursday to you. I'm doing great. I'm hardly on any painkillers, Cliff. I got foot surgery.
That's incredible. Look at you, keeping that foot elevated.
I've been elevating it above my heart.
Now that is some good work. So that is why we did not have a show last week. But of course, if you follow Strange Times Indeed on Instagram or TikTok now, both at Strange Times Indeed, but on Instagram specifically, last week, we did a streamed live watch-along of the Disney film Atlantis, a powerful anti-capitalist film about intelligent life existing under our waters. And
I'm sensing that aquatic theme for sure.
For longer than we have, yes. A themed viewing. And if you want to take part in that, it's already happened. But if you follow Strange Times Indeed on Instagram, you can go to our IGTV section and watch that yourself. Watch Atlantis with Cliff McCallister. It might not be live, but it'll still be fun. And so here we are now, in the present day. Look at that. There's our Instagram and our Twitter. Our TikTok is the same handle as the Instagram, but that's
we have to add that. I'll get on to that, Cliff.
That's okay. That's all right. We've been doing some fun stuff over on TikTok. Because Steven, you're on TikTok now too. You cannot get out of bed. You cannot walk around. So there's not much else for you to do but create this content.
You inspired me, Cliff, to get onto TikTok, and I can't believe that you actually duetted one of my videos, and I'm so thrilled. I feel so honored.
Well, you created this acting challenge. that
Yeah.
people could duet and they would act with you. And I thought, well, I've never acted before. I'll give it a shot.
Exactly. I almost want to show the clip now, but it just wouldn't do it justice if I showed you on my phone. You got to look it up.
You've got to follow Strange Times Indeed on TikTok or the Stephen Craig on TikTok as well.
It's Strange Times Indeed. It's really good. Okay, I'm gonna take this away and leave you to it. Let's get into these.
Yes,
truths.
let's get into these top stories tonight. Here on Strange Times Indeed with Cliff McCallister. Our first story. This is a crucial one coming to us from the not too distant past of February 21st, this past Sunday. An airline pilot, a commercial airline pilot for American Airlines, was flying towards Phoenix over New Mexico when a ship, a craft, an unidentified flying object flies overhead at such great speeds, he almost interprets it as a military-grade weapon. Stephen, let's roll the clip of him reporting this sighting to the watchtower, to the control tower. Here it comes.
One of the most amazing.
No, not this one. Spoiler alert.
I'm sorry, Cliff. What exact video did you want?
This one is the video of this that looks like a sound file, and we put it right up here when in rehearsal.
Yes. Here we go. Oh, those. Gotcha.
Have any targets up here? We just had something go right over the top of us that, I hate to say this, looked like a long cylindrical object. It almost looked like a cruise missile type of thing moving really fast that went right over the top of us.
So you hear that? Interpreting this thing as a cruise missile. Now the command, while it's not on this recording, did confirm there was no military aircraft in the area at the time. There were no cruise missiles being fired, certainly not near commercial airliners. Well, what else could it be but a large cylindrical object moving at great speed, if not an unidentified flying object? An incredible sighting, rarely openly reported and making the news, coming from commercial airline pilots, though it is said that they see them much more often than makes out, because you put out word like that, you say, I saw an unidentified flying object while I was flying this plane, people think you're a loony, people think you're a nut, they'll take your pilot's license away. But this finally, the truth comes out about this, and with such quick turnaround too. Here we are, the 25th, 4 days after the initial sighting. Now that is the kind of turnaround we want to see. If you've witnessed something strange in the past week in your life, you can call into Strange Times Indeed with Cliff McCallister, and we'll talk about it live on the air. Of course, on the normal week, but not quite this one. Now, here's a new report coming out from Scientific American magazine. They are pointing out this interesting trend as the new Mars rover Perseverance has landed on Mars in search of intelligent life. Scientific American put out an article talking about how the belief that there are other, or more so, the skepticism about extraterrestrial life beyond our planet is a new thing. It did not start up until the 60s. Before then, it was just kind of presumed that there was life on other planets. So it's only recently that folks are getting a little skeptical about what it is they see in the skies and where exactly these things come from. And so just this past week, as we said a week ago, we did our Atlantis stream on Instagram. I would have done another stream that day if my one contact within NASA had kept me abreast of this situation and I knew ahead of time that we were planning to land a Mars rover. We landed that a week ago today. The Mars rover Perseverance is currently on Mars with HD cameras trying to find evidence of extraterrestrial life forms once inhabiting Mars. Pretty incredible stuff. Here we are, still going out. Not quite to the furthest reaches of space, but the closest one that we can conceivably get to. The one that might have had, at some point, an atmosphere similar to ours. And say, could there be life here? Or at some point, has there been life on Mars? And all the while, we are looking up towards the stars, wondering what exactly it is that is out there, when we could be looking into our own seas. When there are theories going around just now that the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration is hiding information about intelligent life beneath our own waters, and that governments around the globe have information and have had interactions with these advanced beings beneath our seas. It's sent as a part of this theory that is just coming out. As some of us are well aware, on June 25th, June 25th, the deadline for full UFO and extraterrestrial disclosure from the Department of Defense. They're supposed to put out the information they know about extraterrestrials or unidentified flying objects, specifically unidentified flying objects. Let me clarify that. Not necessarily what they know about extraterrestrials, but what they do know about unidentified flying objects, or as they like to call it in the Senate, unidentified aerial phenomenon. This disclosure is about to come, and there are some who believe that this advanced race beneath our seas has been around for so long and has created technology so powerful that they are able to come out of the oceans and observe us from their own spaceships. They're ships that can go from underwater, I suppose former submarines more so than spaceships. But if they can withstand depths as deep as this species supposedly lives, then they should be able to handle the immense pressures of being in outer space. Or lack thereof of pressure. I'm not an astrophysicist. If Neil deGrasse Tyson is watching, feel free to call in and let me know how the exact physics of outer space. So this new theory that suggests that these extraterrestrial beings may in fact be from beneath our oceans is something that was researched and written up by Ivan T. Sanderson, famed cryptozoologist, made his name writing about the abominable snowman. This is the last book he published in 1970, nearly 50 years ago. Talking about life beneath our seas. Where are you from? Good morning. Where are you from? Do you mean Melishrebt? When you are asking where we are from, do you mean where we broadcast from, or where in the galaxy we
exist? Eastern Standard Time Zone.
Eastern, yes, yes.
It is 9:13 p.m.
Thank you for the time reminders.
What is your time zone?
Write in with your time zone in the chat. If you're from another time zone, you happen to be joining us here on Strange Times Indeed with Cliff McCallister, because you can't get enough of the bizarre. Welcome to our international fans, Melly. I'm from Europe. This is why I was asking. Well, welcome to the show, Melly. Look at that. A fan from Europe. We've gone international, Steven. We've gone international here on Strange Times Indeed with Cliff McCallister. The truth is getting out there to the world. That is correct. No longer is it hidden just within the local confines of Frederick, Maryland, but it is now blasted out the whole world. So where are you from? We are from Frederick, Maryland. At least that's where we broadcast from. We could be from deep beneath the oceans, or perhaps from up in the skies. But we are going to get into this tonight. I want to give you guys some things, because Ivan T. Sanderson chronicled this, and in the first part of this series, I went through so many interactions that we have had, so many encounters with extraterrestrial craft coming out of or descending into our oceans, of disappearances in the Bermuda Triangle and how they may in fact tie into all of this. And then, now that we have talked about the experiences themselves, it's time that we put things together and talk about what all that means. I think Ivan sums it up quite nicely right here. In his second to last chapter, a suggestion. Underwater civilizations. Basically, the dozen or so apparently unrelated matters that we have discussed would seem to have nothing much more in common than that they all have something to do with water. There is, nonetheless, an underlying unity, but it comes to light only when we review them together as possible aspects and evidence for an overall concept. This, moreover, is simply that there is an underwater civilization, or civilizations, on this planet that has been here for a very long time, and which was evolved here, and or that there are intelligent entities who have been coming here from elsewhere, probably for a very long time, and which prefer to use the bottom of the hydrosphere, and possibly also the surface layers of the lithosphere below that, or on or in which to reside and from which to operate. It is the consensus of all opinion, let alone the purely scientific, that life as we know it on this planet originated in water, and only later came out of it onto land under the air. The atmosphere is therefore an unnatural environment for all our life forms. And in order to function in it, we all have to expend most of our corporeal energy creating an aqueous environment within our bodies, and one with almost exactly the constitution of seawater at that in order to survive in this environment. That's why we hydrate during the program. We've got to keep our bodies, our physical land-lubbing bodies, as aqueous as possible, as filled with water. You sound British to me in a way, but I am not a native speaker at all. Well, who among us is a native speaker? We come out of the womb babbling nonsense until we make sense of it. Come to think of it, I'm not sure where Cliff gets his accent. From beyond the stars, that's where. Now, we presume that we are the only form of what we call intelligent life on this planet, and since we live in the atmosphere, we assume that being the only form of intelligent life, no other such intelligence could evolve or exist in water. This notion has, however, been considerably shaken recently by the investigation of the mental abilities of cetaceans, porpoises, dolphins, and whales. But panic has been held to a minimum by the observation that these fine creatures don't have hands, and that intelligence, as we think of it, is founded in technology, which in turn calls for the employment of what we call heat in order to invent and carry on metallurgical procedures. However, we can weld metal underwater, and we can mix concrete that sets underwater. So it would seem that a technological civilization is not impossible in liquid, and especially in such a delightfully inert one as water. The problem we therefore have to face is, could there have evolved a technological civilization or a type of civilization such as we imply by that term underwater? I'm afraid I have to say that first, there is no logical reason for stating that there could not be. That's just how he begins it. How incredible to think. Beneath our waters, there must be some advanced life, some advanced species. By the odds of it being are so tremendous. If you look back at civilization, if you look so far back to the very first fossil that was ever found, not the first fossil that was ever found, but I suppose the oldest fossil that we have found, dates back over 600 million years. But if we look at the evolutionary chain of life, as we came out of the oceans and evolved into creatures that live on land, the first land-based fossils only track back 300 million years, which means life under the sea began much sooner, much further back, twice as long as we have been here. And while we evolved to go out of the water and exist on oxygen and air, while still maintaining our squishy aqueous nature, then who's to say that a creature could not evolve to live underwater much the way fish do? Could there not be intelligent beings beneath our seas so far down, staying hidden, staying safe, but that have evolved to naturally exist underwater? And what was propositioned in this NOAA conspiracy is that these beings look very much like what we interpret as extraterrestrial grays, small 5-foot-ish gray beings with larger heads, almond-shaped eyes, and little slits for mouths. And who's to say they could not have gills or something like that? So it says somebody wants to call in. What was that? Who is somebody? They aren't doing call-ins tonight. Does somebody want to call in? Hey, how do you call in? Oh, yes. I did get a message about this, yes, we will be calling in, comment in the chat. If you can't call in a little later in the program, I'll get to a good point and we'll open up the phone line.
Okay. Oh, we're going to open up the phone line. Okay. All right. Right. Hold on.
So I did get a message about this. I knew this was a possibility of a call that might be coming in, relating to intelligent life underwater. And so I think this theory that extraterrestrials may be residing beneath our seas is so rare and so bold. Most people don't even consider it, even though it was published in this book, which by the end of this year may be the closest thing we have to the new Bible, if it turns out that these creatures really exist down there. You don't mean to sound blasphemous, but it could be pretty important. And so it sounds like we've got a caller who messaged me earlier about a connection to this theory that we had not heard about before. So, Stephen, I think we can go ahead and put the. You can go ahead. Okay, I'm chilling until phones are open. Well, I just did a whole intro about it. I think Les might as well bring him on. We're at a good transition point before we go into the next.
Links
chunk.
in the chat for you. If you want to go ahead, share your story. We'd love to have you on. Click that link. That's how you call in. Message in the chat if you need further instruction on making first contact.
Steven, thank you for helping us through that call, and our incredible technical director make sure everything goes running smoothly as planned.
Technically, I'm a digital content designer.
Content creator. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I think that's your theater title, but the producer of the show, our producer Kevin, used to work in live television, and as the person sitting behind the computer pushing the buttons, if you were in a live TV studio, your role would be technical director. So that's just a little TV lingo for you. It's something to think about if you're looking at a career change in the future.
Technically, I have technical director on my resume.
Yes, and I think if you've ever worked a stream deck like you do, Steven, anyone watching, if you've ever done something on Twitch, you could probably work a TV control room pretty well if you're looking to like get into the showbiz. It's a transferable skill. Put it on your resume.
Seems like you know a lot about this.
I'm a wise man. Steven, and I know how to fill the time when we're waiting to see if somebody will call in. But while we're waiting, let me tell you guys a little bit more about these underwater beings, or more so, what Ivan T. Sanderson calls them in this book, for lack of a better term, and I really have to say it is for lack of a better term, water babies. These little water babies in their spaceships, and they pop up out of the thing and they watch you. He calls them water babies, and that potentially, as was pointed out, there's a great quote from Nikola Tesla in here that we read on the last episode. And while we're talking about the evolutionary trend of creatures living underwater, let me reread that great quote while we see if we get this caller. And Nikola Tesla said this: organic life might undergo modifications, leading to forms which, according to our present ideas of life, are impossible. Changes could be gradual, so I think it is quite possible that in a frozen planet, such as our moon is supposed to be, intelligent beings may still dwell in its interior, if not on its surface. Are you trying to figure out who that person is, Stephen?
I'm going to whisper to them.
Yes, go ahead and whisper.
Whisper to them the link. I whispered to them on Twitch. You can whisper on Twitch.
Stephen, you are a technical whiz. I want to bring up an image here of a water baby. It's or what may very well be a water baby. This was fished out of the water by a fisherman in Indonesia just recently. And this is supposedly the body of a shark, but its eyes have kind of developed forward in a way. It has this almost like human face, but in an odd way. And if a creature beneath the sea can be discovered that looks like that, who's to say there could not be ones that evolved to be more humanoid? Perhaps this could be the next stage of an evolution in another super intelligent underwater species, such as the one that exists there, or who's to say this could not just be one of them? If more and more contact is being made, and if we might be getting to a point where disclosure of these underwater beings may be necessary, who's to say that odds of contact, of them getting closer to us, of what would technically be considered a close encounter of the third kind, witnessing the creatures themselves, who's to say this could not be them creeping up closer? And this is not the first one like this. This was a editorial mistake on my part, Stephen, because I did not hunt down the picture, but I know a similar creature has been found in the water, but just with one eye. And it's very cute. I'll look it up. I'll post it on our Instagram page at Strange Times Indeed. More incentive to follow. You'll see strange, cute little water babies. I feel like these underwater aliens are the next big seafood industry. I go swimming every day and find one and taste it. That is troubling to hear. We do like to encourage peace amongst the interdimensional and perhaps advanced species that walk this earth that we have no real means of knowing what their true power might be. You've got to play it safe when dealing with these things. And I'll tell you why you've got to play it safe. As we wait for this call, we might as well tell you why you got to play it safe. Stephen, we've got another clip here. I want to show you guys this. This is more stuff. You might think, well, if we're going down, if there is intelligent life under our seas, why have we not seen them? I can log on to Netflix and watch 10 documentaries about undersea creatures and deep sea fish. Why haven't any of these things shown up on camera? Why haven't we discovered them? Why haven't they popped up in a documentary? Why are they being kept a top secret, government secret? And so, we've got that call. You're probably wondering, why keep it a secret? Why haven't we seen it? Well, we'll tell you that in a minute. You just got to keep watching. It's got a video clip. But let's go ahead and bring this caller in while he is calling. That's called a tease in the business. Here we go. All right, we are admitting him into the room. Connecting to our caller. Hello? Oh, still connecting audio. Here we go. Hello?
Hey, hello. How's it going?
Good. How are you, sir?
Hey, Cliff. It's good to talk to you, man. Good. I'm glad calling in.
Hey, can we bring your camera, bring your visage on screen?
Can we show your image?
Oh, no, you're projecting it. We just want to know if we can.
Can we show your image? Do we have your permission?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, you have permission for all things. Yeah.
You never know when a CIA employee might call in with top secret information, so we always like to put up the blocker just in case.
That's very smart of you.
Now, Rich, you said you've got information about these underwater intelligent beings, these water babies.
Well, so when you first started talking about this a couple weeks ago, it made me think of a PlayStation game that I used to play a long time ago.
Interesting.
Yeah, the game it was part of like the Twisted Metal series.
Right, and that was the series where you were like a violent car, right?
Yeah, you're one of like many violent cars, and you drove around on the Earth, and you defeated the other guys, and then I think at the end, like the Overlord granted you some kind of a wish. Mm-hmm. So this one game, it came out in 1997, which I think is really interesting time for somebody to have like an idea of underwater life underwater, and then for them to put it into like a game that's like a part of a popular series.
Yeah.
So the game itself, the idea of the game is that there's an explorer and he's exploring underwater and he finds almost like a Stargate kind of thing underwater.
Mm-hmm.
And the Stargate sucks him in, and the word gets out to all these different other explorers, and it's life from another planet. And they've decided to ask the best explorers and the best people on the earth, like, hey, we're going to propose kind of the same prospect to you if you want to help us find all the artifacts, and whoever defeats the other guys, then we'll grant you, whatever you want, your heart's desires, kind of thing.
So they're like, oh, we left all our high-tech alien technology under the seas. Can you get it back for us?
Yeah.
Incredible.
And they kind of put it out to whoever wants to do it. Like, they almost want to see who's the best of the best that Earth has to offer.
Right. And so this pardon me.
Right, it's okay.
A little T goes down the wrong way. It'll derail the whole program.
What a way to go out.
I know. So this wild to think that the makers of the Twisted Metal series, the popular PlayStation series, are putting almost this exact theory out in the world. The extraterrestrials are coming from beneath the seas.
Yeah.
In a silly little video game in the 90s, right in between when this book came out in 1970 and this new conspiracy theory came out in 2021.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, man.
It's almost as if there's always something in the zeitgeist. And that's because these crafts are constantly coming out of and going into water or being sighted above the water. I was just going to say, there's so much to explore. Like, everybody's always super concerned with exploring outer space, but like, we've explored maybe 12% of the ocean. Like, there's way more tangible stuff to explore in the ocean. Absolutely. And I think that's where these two mysteries really collide with what are unidentified flying objects, what are these extraterrestrials and their crafts. And also, we know so little about what's in the depths of the seas that these two theories come together and mishmash and say these two mysterious entities that are right above us and right below us might in fact just be one intertwined thing. Yeah,
totally. Yeah. And who knows how long they've been, if they've been just like people that we think visit us from outer space they've had their technology for hundreds of years. The same thing, like the technology could have been hiding underwater for a long time.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. And if you've got to build a ship that can travel light years through space, it's got to be able to handle the ocean. That doesn't seem like a big stretch.
So what I was going to say is, what I found really interesting about the game is that all the people who decide to go after the technology and try to win the favor of the aliens, you've got the CIA, who in the game is presented as the Men in Black, who would obviously be the first people to try to get with the aliens. You've got Greenpeace, you've got who else? A James Bond type guy. There's a guy who's kind of like a burnout surfer guy.
Right.
There's a whole lot of interesting characters. There's a cult that wants to go after it, and they've all got high-tech submarines, and each one of the submarines has cool powers and can do different stuff. It's pretty interesting. And then you collect all the stuff, and then you go through the Stargate, and then the Stargate takes you to whatever the next level is.
Fun. And
then in the future, more or less, the Earth has been taken over by water, which I think is a big theory that eventually earthquakes and the water levels are going to rise higher and higher, and so everybody's kind of piloting these submarines. So a lot of the levels take place underwater, but it's where there used to be former cities.
So it's also the nightmare that is climate change is happening as well. Yeah, what a terrifyingly prescient game.
It's kind of, it blew my mind thinking about that this kind of stuff was going on 25 years ago.
And this is pre an Inconvenient Truth.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I thought it was really interesting that also at the end when the aliens kind of depending on like how you win the game, then like you get like your ending. But the aliens kind of do a twist like a monkey's paw kind of thing, just the same as like, I don't know if you ever played the Twisted Metal series.
I have not.
I'm
not too much of a gamer, but
like what happens is like you win, but then the guy who grants the wishes is kind of like a not so nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of like flips like a monkey's paw kind of style, the what you win. But there's a really interesting, it covers another interesting thing because there's like a cult is one of the groups. And if the cult wins and collects all the artifacts and helps the aliens, I think the cult worshipped Cthulhu.
Mm-hmm.
And so the aliens are like, hey, you've spent all your time like believing that Cthulhu exists. And we're here to tell you that it does exist. And they help bring Cthulhu up from the waters. And then Cthulhu winds up like devouring all the cults.
Right.
So it's just pretty ironic, but the fact that they would even have like the Cthulhu mythos mixed in with all this other stuff as well is pretty cool.
Yeah, there's so much going on in that game. It sounds like, Steven, I wonder, because this is Twitch, we are on Twitch, obviously not tonight, but I wonder if there's a way we could play that on the show sometime.
Twisted Metal?
No, do you know the name of this game?
Because I would love to play some Twisted Metal.
It's called Critical Depth.
Okay.
Critical Depths. We'll see if we can find that, and then maybe, Steven, one day we'll let you play Twisted Metal on the Twitch.
Okay, and then I'll also play this video. This video we need to play. Got it.
Yes.
Cool. Well, Rich, anything else you needed to tell us about these underwater beings?
No, it was pretty interesting. I like the fact that the beings were, I guess, malevolent was like the right word to use. Like everybody, like the humans thought like, oh, we're going to be the ones to find this and get the publicity or the fame or whatever it is that they're looking for. But then the aliens wound up having the upper hand at the end.
That's troubling. That's troubling to consider.
Yeah, but I think that might be the thing that people aren't thinking about. Like humans might be a little bit too cocky when it comes to this thing. And they need to realize that maybe we're just kind of the ants in an ant farm.
Well, and that's the thing.
Cliff, are you okay?
We've talked about too much. We know too much.
Come back. Come back. Tap, tap.
Oh, boop, 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 boop. Hope it's okay.
Do you know CPR?
I could try to do CPR through the phone.
Okay, try that.
All right, I'm going to do you do the breaths and I'll do the 20 compressions.
All right.
All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I didn't do it.
Oh.
How many compressions? And then I do a breath after the compressions, right?
Do 2 breaths and then 20 compressions.
His image fell. I'm getting a phone call.
Oh, who is it?
Hello?
Steven, am I on speakerphone?
He's back.
I'm back. Oh, I'm gonna hang this up. It's gonna echo. The effect. Oh, they're trying to shut us down.
Oh, I knew it.
Down.
Cliff, is this your phone number? Is this your phone number? Can I save it?
Please do not. Yes, you can save my phone number.
I've got Cliff's phone number.
Ooh, I think it's probably he's calling from a burner phone.
I'm sorry. I thought he was about to put it on the air. Anyway, they're trying to shut us down. As I was saying. Well,
we're getting to the information and they're trying to shut us down, man.
This theory goes back when the current one that ties it into a Russian submarine that supposedly made contact with these things in this lake in Russia, and they blew up the submarine. They reported strange sightings of these creatures beneath them, and then they blew up.
The submarines blew up?
And this happened just a few years ago. This is a fairly recent incident that is tied into these potential underwater beings. They don't want to interact with us. And I think this information coming out could potentially be very dangerous if we do not approach them in a safe and measured way.
We have to pick somebody who's of sound mind to be an ambassador to these creatures.
Yes. An open-minded czar of the bizarre, perhaps.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, somebody who resembles maybe the main character of an underwater Disney animated adventure.
Yes, somebody who could perhaps pull off the role of Milo in a live-action Atlantis.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. You know anybody like that?
I'm sure I could find some scrawny bisexual to fill the role. That's for sure.
All right. Yeah, I have faith in you.
All right. Well, thank you, Rich. Thank you for calling in. We'll go ahead and let you go.
All right, Cliff. Good to see you. Good to talk to you.
Good to see you, Rich. Thank you for being on Strange Times Indeed with Cliff McCallister.
See ya.
All right. Wow. And whoa.
Are you okay?
Whoa. I just blasted out of space, Stephen. You would not believe it. The incredible things happening on this program tonight. Before we go to our commercial break, I want to tell you guys about this one other thing. Like we said, this is something that folks got to keep a secret. You've been wondering how come we've only explored so few parts of the seas, but you would think surely with so many Netflix documentaries of deep sea diving and all that things, something would have appeared on camera at some point. And so I want to show you all this clip with a man named oh my gosh, Mike DeGrove. I thought I wrote it down. Well, it's an interview with this man who did filmography for Blue Planet. And this is perhaps one of the closest encounters that we have on camera, explaining why we have not really witnessed these deep sea intelligent beings. Stephen, can we play that clip? This is the underwater lake.
One of the most amazing things that I had ever seen in the bottom of the ocean. It was while filming for Blue Planet. It was in the Gulf of Mexico. And inside the ring of mussels was a lake. And it's like, wait a minute, I'm already underwater. And we went out over the water in this lake and tried to descend in it and bounced off. It was so super saline and dense that the submarine couldn't go down in it. We literally bounced off, and as we bounced off, we sent ripples heading back to the shoreline. It was insane. I've never seen anything like it.
Water underwater. And we cannot carry the water. We cannot remove the water. It is just there, and it is so dense we cannot even go beneath it. And yet when we hit it, it ripples. Beneath that water, there have got to be advanced species living safely. As Ivan T. Anderson writes, an incident with an unidentified aquatic object that hovered outside of San Francisco for so long the Navy came and dropped tons of explosives on it, did not put a dent in it. There are advanced powers beneath our seas and intelligent beings. And the question is, are they good? Are they bad? Who's to say? We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with more Strange Times Indeed with Cliff McCallister. Are we going to roll a commercial?
I was thinking about it, but then I thought maybe I would take a break too and not roll a commercial and go this.
Okay.
One of the most amazing things
Greetings,
that I have ever
terrestrials.
seen in the bottom of the ocean. It was while filming
Listen
for Blue Planet.
to this man.
Cliff, you're frozen.
I, of course, am Cliff McCallister. Am I frozen again? My
you're
goodness.
I didn't have to do
thank
CPR
goodness.
by myself.
I was worried I was going to have to call you. They are trying to shut us down. Is the new wall hanging behind you? The same set that has always been behind me. What's your new wall hanging behind you? This is the same set I've always had. Oh, unless you mean this wonderful blanket from a company called Mill of Beyond. Anyway, what you might not have known is sometimes we run commercial breaks on this show for the Maryland Ensemble Theater, because the Maryland Ensemble Theater is the only theater with the guts to put us on the air. And if you like what we do here at Strange Times Indeed with Cliff McCallister, you can support us by making a donation at marylandensemble.org/donate. There are no other comedy night shows this week, but next Friday on twitch.tv/MetComedyNight, you can find the Comedy Pigs providing their live signature short-form improv. And of course, next Thursday at 9 o'clock, you can always find more Strange Times Indeed with Cliff McCallister. I'm Cliff McCallister, the Czar of the Bizarre. Let's get back into our programming. We were just pondering these intelligent beings beneath the sea. Are they good? Are they bad? Ivan T. Sanderson proposes that we look at it this way, and I think this is probably the smartest way to approach the situation, lest we find ourselves in war with beings that we do not even understand. He says, the constant refrain by all kinds of people is that there is and always has been a conflict between the good boys and the bad boys. For instance, angels, elevated, and the fallen being demons, and the former defending their own and the latter trying to muscle in. So where do we come into this equation? In a case such as this, I have to back off and start still again. At the risk of being appallingly corny, the best analogy I can offer is the age-old one about us and the ants. The latter manifestly have some kind of intelligence, be it individual or corporate. At least they get things done, including, as the engineers say, work. But as many people have pointed out, we just tramp all over ants in the kitchen and in the woods without ever so much as a passing thought as to just what they may be up to. If we have a bunch of superintelligencies indigenous to the aqueous envelope of our planet, who have been around for Lord alone might know how much longer than we have, why on earth should they give a damn what we do or what happens to us? True, they might. When they have time to indulge in such a pastime as pure research, decide to collect a few aerial types of life, just as some of us become fascinated by the behavior of ants and start collecting them as a hobby or to study. Be it noted that we seem to be going through just such a phase with regard to things that are indigenous to our atmosphere and beyond. So it's very likely these beings have existed twice as long as we have. And they really have no interest in us at all, save for research. And perhaps the findings that they have made about humankind might not have been the most favorable things as far as how they treat new and indigenous peoples and species. And what it may come down to for them is a matter of survival, is staying hidden, is blowing up that Russian submarine. They might not be looking to get in a fight with us, but getting in a fight with us surely would not be good for us. For in this analogy, I do believe we are the ants. I do want to show you guys this some more footage coming out, because Ivan T. Sanderson, he writes about the logic of this thing and what we can contend, what we can say is most likely to be true in this scenario. And he says, thus I contend, if we only stick to being logical and within the framework of our presently accepted logic to boot, there is no reason why there could not be an extremely advanced civilization underwater, why it might not be up to twice as old as ours, why it should not have developed what we call space flight, and why it should not be so far in advance of us technologically that we would never have even noticed it until we started to develop a few really sensitive gadgets. They've got advanced technology. They might not want to be seen. They might not want to be found, but they can do things that our own crafts are not capable of. And I want to bring up this UFO sighting from Puerto Rico in 2013. Now, there are two important things to note about this sighting. We're going to point out what makes them so unique. This first video, we are going to show this craft. It appears to be very small. Perhaps it is just a drone type of thing traveling for the thing, but this is thermal imaging taken of this craft in the middle of the night, and you're going to see it drop into water and keep going, keep moving in ways that most craft wouldn't, or things that would be more impactful were it to be an airplane or something like that. Stephen, let's roll that clip. Here we go. Object impacts the ocean. Object is seen moving from land back to sea. Now you can, it's very, you can kind of see it in the center by the crosshairs. Oh, there we go. They zoom in, they make it bigger. Now this is thermal imaging from another airplane. And you see it there, dip under the water and then peek back up. And you can tell this is thermal imaging because when it's below the water, it's not getting the heat signature. You can kind of make it out, but there's there's a red circle to point out the weird thing. But you can see it go under the water. Stephen, if we can just kind of play that again while we're talking about it. And Ivan T. Sanderson writes many instances in here of sightings of UFOs, of unidentified aquatic or aerial objects that have come out of or gone into the water and made very little impression on the water itself, not exactly creating waves or a span like that. And you see this one just dip beneath the water and keep going. Now, let's go to a clip from later on during this sighting where you're actually going to see this craft as it is in the water break apart into two separate pieces. But these two separate pieces keep going. It's not like a piece has broken off and it is now irreparable. It has created two separate crafts of almost identical size and gone through. And you might think, oh, well, maybe it's a refraction on the water. But because these are thermal imaging cameras, it would not pick up the reflection of heat. And so you see there, it is now two crafts. Is it moving? Is the video playing? It looks like a still image to me. Oh, there we go. Okay. So there we go. We're off to the races with these things. And you see they almost separate. They're starting to go in slightly different directions, but still in the same general area. They're giving each other space. Ooh, being below to avoid heat signatures, interesting. Here we go. Here's a comment from our friend Rich who just called in. He said they might have had interest before, but they lost hope.
Cliff?
Am I froze out?
You did freeze.
Nope.
I don't know what's going on. Someone really doesn't want this information out on the air. You have glitched pretty regularly tonight.
I know. And here's the troubling thing. This information, this man from the clip that we aired, from the Blue Planet thing. Now, when I discovered this footage, it also had more tacked onto it at the end, pointing out that how after this interview had aired, this man was in a helicopter crash, and it killed him and a fellow filmmaker from this project. I mean, this is information people do not want to get out there. But we are putting it out because we believe it's important. We believe people need to hear about this before the information gets out there. It's important that people know the truth. We are broadcasting the truth every Thursday at 9 o'clock here on twitch.tv/Met Comedy Night. Here on Strange Times Indeed with Cliff McCallister, we are the only people on Twitch or elsewhere warning you, telling you about the water babies. Saying we've got to be careful. We've got to treat these things with respect. We've got to treat these creatures, these intelligent beings, these water babies, as the ultra-powerful, intelligent beings that they may be, having lived and evolved under the sea for twice as long as we have, or perhaps having come from beyond the stars itself. I mean, who's to say that these creatures have not gained so much power that they are capable of cloaking themselves and walking among us as invisible residents? That when we witness things like ghosts or poltergeists, these things may be caused, in fact, by the invisible residents, by these water babies projecting up into our world using their advanced technology. Who's to say? All of this is intriguing info that makes me recall the 1980s cartoon, The Tiger Sharks. Perhaps the tiger sharks are in fact real and inhibiting our seas right now. You are opening so many doors for me, Cliff. Well, thank you, MGV me. We love to find out. We are opening doors. We are opening our minds. The possibilities of the bizarre out here, people. This is why we tune in every Thursday, 9 o'clock. That's why we take your calls. If you've experienced the bizarre, this is a safe place to share, to tell your story. We will put it out into the world because it's okay to believe in these things. It's not hurting anybody. And if you can't explain it, you gotta talk to somebody about it. Now, before we bring things to a close, Ivan T. Anderson asked one important question, and that question is why? Frankly, we don't know why anything. We don't know why we are here, and we don't know why the universe exists, or it seems to us to exist. There are those who say that it's God's will. There are others who contend that it just happened and that there is no why for anything. Yet there are degrees of whyness, if I may coin another word. It would seem to be quite hopeless to ask why everything, but we may legitimately ask why something. In the present case, we have suggested that any intelligences there may be who live in a liquid medium may not want us to know about their presence and activities. Fair enough. But do we have any evidence of such a desire on their part? I think that we have, and that this is to be sought out in the third set of facts which are presented above, namely the disappearing ship, ships disappearing, and then reappearing, and planes arriving before time. Once such a procedure is developed, it would be undoubtedly refined, so that the disappearances could be selective. Instead of grabbing a whole ship or everything in and on it, one might be able to pluck off the men only, or the old men only, or the stupid ones, or all the ones named Ambrose, or just about anything else your computers desired. At the same time, you, the superior intelligences, would undoubtedly also know how to make yourselves invisible, and so come aboard, as the saying goes nautically, to supervise. If not, you could presumably operate at long distance, and from another medium. I begin to wonder just how much there might not be to the old age stories of invisible entities that do things, people that flash on and off, and all the rest of those incredibles and unbelievables so beloved of the mystics, and so abhorred by the skeptics and other pragmatists. For Strange Times Indeed, I'm Cliff McCallister, the Czar of the Bizarre. I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in to our Invisible Resonance series. Hey, Raids White!
Whoa!
Well, hey, thank you for following us. It's always great to get a new follower. You've earned that follow tonight, I'll tell you what. Thank you so much for tuning in, each and every one of you. Thank you for Stephen for running the tech, making this show run smoothly as it can, despite government interference. Thank you, Rich, for calling in with your story. Thank you to all of you commenting. Thank you for the applause. How nice. If you want to support this show, if you want to support the Maryland Ensemble Theater, marylandensemble.org/donate. If you've got an Amazon Prime subscription, you can use your free Prime subscribe for the Met Comedy Night channel. That won't cost you a thing, but it's going to take $5 out of Jeff Bezos's pocket. So why don't you support the channel? Link your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch and give us that little subscribe. That always helps us out. It's great to support the theater in times like these. If you do not know, perhaps you're watching from Europe. We've gone international tonight. We've got some European viewers. If you're watching from Europe, the Maryland Ensemble Theater, a real physical theater, forced to put on shows like this during the thing. Love your tenacious perseverance of the truth, Cliff. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. That is Strange Times indeed for the week of February 25th, 2021. I'm Cliff McCallister, the Czar of the Bazaar. We'll see you next Thursday at 9 o'clock right here on twitch.tv/MedComedyNight. Stay strange, terrestrials.